If I can speed up a line and not have to invest another 5-10 millions in another production line and the space it takes to house that, that's what I want to do, right? I want to speed up those. And so that simulation allows them to see what impact that's having on the built environment, I would say.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. We're in IAMC in Sacramento here at the conference, and we have Michael Verdier at BHDP Architecture, who's one of the 9 partners at that firm, big company, and has been involved with manufacturing facilities for over 35 years now. So has a great history of manufacturing facilities and how they've evolved. So Michael, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the time.
Great to have you. And just as a warning, Bill, obviously we talked to the guests before we get going. I'm going to geek out with this guy a little bit.
Of course you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Easy on me.
That's right. Well, we invited you on the show. We don't have a lot of people that are experts in manufacturing, right? Inside the box. We have site selectors and brokers and all sorts. So once that site is selected, you come in, right? And tell us about the involvement, maybe over the last decade, of industrial manufacturing in the U.S. and those buildings.
Yeah, it's not only greenfield site, like you said, around the site selection. Once an owner selected a site, that will get involved, but it could also be an expansion of a facility. But if it's a greenfield site, the owners will get us involved. We'll ask a lot of questions about their business plan, their capacity plan. We want to understand the products that they're making, the volumes of those products they're going to produce year on year, so near term, midterm, long term if possible. So even looking out 15, 20 years, what is that production or capacity plan? And then we take that and think about the equipment it's going to take to produce that, the number of production lines, making systems, converting or packing lines, and we start to lay that out for them, and then think about the utilities to bring that equipment to life. So we're thinking about the steam, the chilled water, compressed air, the power certainly is a hot topic here at IAMC.
For sure.
Power's the new labor. We heard that yesterday.
Yeah. So, and also the people. People is we say at BHDP we design for people, right? We're creating places and experience that inspire people, because that's what's really going to drive the facility. So we're thinking about those people aspects too, but laying out that facility not only for phase 1, phase 2, but the full build out, and then doing those siting studies, and we'll shrink wrap the building around that. Once we have all the equipment general arrangements laid out, all the utilities, we call that location control plan. So what's the utility distribution into that equipment? And when we're laying things out, it's not just laying out the equipment. We're thinking about how do you install it? How do you repair it if there's a failure mode? Mm-hmm. So access to it. We're thinking about material flows to the line. We're also looking at the racking system. So that's why it's so important to understand the volumes of products that are going to be produced. So there's lots of raw materials, packed materials, finished goods, and how are those materials stored? Are they in super sacks? Are they on floor pile? Are they in selective rack, pushback, ASRS racks? So really laying all the racking system out too. Mm-hmm. How does that translate into the number of docks that are required? So there's a lot that we do in terms of understanding the business's capacity plan. It really starts with that. And then, like I say, laying all that out, shrink wrap the building around it, and then start those siting studies where we're looking at the exterior flows. You got to get inbound, outbound trucks. A lot of owners, there's security considerations. So laying all that out, looking at, zoning restrictions, setback, easements, and then helping owners make a final decision on the land to acquire. So we're kind of an architectural firm on steroids, I would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
The one thing you said that surprised me, I understand you're designing the flow and every capacity of the manufacturing plant. The one thing that surprised me was that you're actually sourcing and sounds like recommending what type of manufacturing equipment a company would use.
No, not really. We've made suggestions like that, but typically owners know who they're going to buy their equipment, their making systems from, their converters, their packing systems. But we spend a lot of time collaborating with those vendors. Those vendors, a lot of times, they're in the U.S., but a lot of times they're international also. So we're spending a lot of time on there getting their equipment cut sheets, the data sheets on there, their free body diagrams of the equipment in CAD or Revit so we could lay it out. Also looking at the material handling requirements for those. So we're not necessarily recommending the equipment or designing the equipment, but working hand in hand with those equipment suppliers that the owner has a relationship with.
There's been a lot of talk here at this conference about automation, robotics, AI. How's that playing into your world as you're looking at these facilities and designing them for the long haul?
It's interesting. I mean, so automation and robotics, I would say we're very accustomed to, I mentioned ASRS warehousing systems, AGVs, AMRs, ATLS system, automatic truck loading systems, those kind of things. We're accustomed to that. We see that. Not so much the humanoids that I heard about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of the humanoids.
Not yet. Yeah.
So
Soon.
I mean, we are having to plan and design around those, certainly. One of the things, though, as I was listening, that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but I know it's top of mind of a lot of the owners that we work with, is plant simulation or digital twin technology. So, and I think it's a huge missed opportunity. We use a simulation a lot to design the equipment, but we're not leveraging that technology enough, I don't think, to actually help plan and design the facilities in which house that equipment. So, plant simulation, historically, there's been a lot of, I would say, static analysis and trying to understand optimized flows, the number of pallet positions you need, the number of dock doors you need. And through simulation, we can actually model the facility and do sensitivity analysis on it and bring a database decision-making or solution. So it's not the static analysis, it's a dynamic analysis. The static analysis doesn't allow you to understand the interdependencies of all the activities or functions that are going on in a facility. I mean, just take, for instance, a liquid bottling line. You got bottles that are coming in, they go into a bottle descrambler, to a filler, a capper, a labeler, and then packaging. And let's say you want the company wants to do a speed up initiative. How do you analyze what impact that has on the facility in a static, like an Excel spreadsheet analysis? Through simulation, you can really tell what's going on upstream and downstream. So let's say I want to speed up the filler, what does that do upstream? Maybe I need more bottles now. Maybe I need more caps or labels. Downstream, what's it do to the number of finished pallets that I got to go out the door? So it starts to help us with all the more raw materials I need now, so I don't starve the line. How many more pallet positions do I need in the racks? And then downstream, now the frequency of which a fork truck operator has to come and pick up a full pallet, or the number of dock doors I might need now because I got to ship the business more. So I think it's a great opportunity. We talk about robotics and AI for operations in the plant, but simulation, digital twin technology, I think it's got to be layered into that, particularly with the robotics. I mean, because how else can you really understand the interdependencies of all the robotics and things that are going on without the simulation? So I think.
And by the way, when you talk about simulation, are you talking about like putting a headset on and seeing all the flows of the entire factory before you ever?
Well, I mean, you can. That's VR, yeah. So we have that technology also. But this is really, you can see the equipment, right? You're laying out, like I say, the converting equipment and the packing equipment. You can see it, and there's maybe 5 or 6 lines in a production module, and you're able to see the fork trucks come in, and you can do time studies or sensitivity analysis. If I speed up one unit op, what does that do upstream? What's it do downstream? And if you think about it, a lot of owners are looking at speed up initiatives versus expanding, because if I can speed up a line and not have to invest another 5-10 millions in another production line and the space it takes to house that's what I want to do, right? I want to speed up those. And so that simulation allows them to see what impact that's having on the built environment, I would say.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, so you would know better than anybody, with everybody talking about manufacturing coming home, onshoring, what types of proposals or requests for your job are you seeing to design those facilities? What industries are you seeing?
A lot of it actually, it's kind of top of mind, the power industry. So a lot of things that are related to power production. So electrical switchgear type of equipment coming here, the components like that go into that electrical equipment. It's also with customers that maybe they only make a device outside of the United States. So they're thinking about business continuity, particularly back in 2020 through COVID. the supply chain resiliency was top of mind of everybody. So I would say, definitely a lot of equipment that has to do with the power industry are things that we're seeing. Yeah.
And what about location? Is it Texas South and Southeast mainly?
We're seeing kind of three areas, really. Actually, some projects are out in California, some are right in the middle of the country in Texas, and then definitely on the East Coast.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons we opened up a new office in Charlotte. There's just a tremendous amount of industrial manufacturing growth in and around that I-85, I-77 corridor that runs, through Charlotte, down into South Carolina, down into Charleston. You think you got a deep seaport there. You got a number of international airports.
Mm-hmm. Good labor probably there.
Well, that's just it. I mean, that's why we consider planting, that's one of the things we did when we considered Charlotte as a new home for us is where is the talent base? Where are the universities that have, the engineering schools or the architectural schools that we can tap into that talent? Yeah.
Michael's got one at Clemson, just like you.
Oh,
you have someone at
yes,
Clemson?
my daughter's there, sophomore.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, his
Yes.
son's a senior there.
Yeah.
Right? Is that right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's
Excellent.
in
Great
mechanical
school.
engineering, and he's actually working at an automotive company right now out of Greenville. So, he's doing programming robots.
That's awesome.
Basically, yeah.
Very impressive.
So he's,
Great
he's
school.
doing a co-op there right now. So,
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, it's fascinating to watch and hear, with everything that's going on. And, one of the other things that was talked about here by Jody at Colliers was just, embracing change, right? And like, we are going to continue to see that throughout manufacturing facilities. And, what a job that you have to go in. Manufacturing facilities are such a long-term approach for these occupiers, right? And so to have to think, 15, 20 years down the road with everything changing is a challenging task for sure.
Not every owner has visibility to that long-term vision or business plan or capacity plan, but to the extent that they can, at least document that, it allows us to plan, like I said, that full build out, and then we kind of throttle back and we design phase one, phase two. But by doing that, I mean, it's a very well thought out, thoughtful plan and design, because without that, I mean, I've seen lots of facilities over 36 years where they just evolved, right? And there's a huge initiative comes along, will be a great location on the site to put in new production. But I can't because I put a utility building there, and I can't move the utility building. Right. So by having a longer term view in the master planning and the capacity planning, it makes sure that we're designing, planning the site for the long term. We're not creating a barrier to that long term growth for them. So you mentioned like the change that's going on. One of the other things that I've seen owners do that we've tried to assist with is this kind of flexible, adaptable space. They know that they need, let's say, 4 production lines in a module. They also need the materials, raw materials, packed materials, and storage for that. They'll design the module right next to it for material storage in phase one, believing that they'll optimize their supply chain strategy so they won't need as much storage. And as once they get past, say, the 4 lines of capacity and need a 5th or 6th line, they'll cannibalize that storage space because now they don't need it anymore. They don't need as many days safety stock or days forward coverage of material, so they don't need as much storage space anymore. So now they can start to put production lines in there. So really, the flexibility or adaptability of space is some of the things we're helping with them also.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so nobody wants to have material storage on site, right?
Right.
You want a production line there that's making money.
Last question for you. What is one of your favorite U.S. projects, say, over the last 5 years in manufacturing that you've designed?
Oh man, there's a lot. I mean, this is, I have to say, over 36 years, being able to peek behind the curtain at all these different manufacturing sites, I feel very privileged. Like, probably less than 1% of the population ever gets to peek behind the curtain and see how all these things are made. In fact, we call it, how it's made in our group. But I would say there's a lot, right? So I don't want to say those that I'm not mentioning weren't great.
Of course.
But I say the one I'm most proud of would be the Airstream plant up in Jackson Center, Ohio. It's such an
I'm
iconic.
an Airstream owner.
Are you really?
Yes.
So am I. I have a
That's
Globetrotter.
awesome.
What do you have?
I have a 24-foot Globetrotter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a 27-foot Globetrotter. We picked it up about 2 years ago.
Awesome.
And have been loving it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I am not an owner of one.
Yeah. But I would say the Airstream plant, and I want to make sure I mention this because we've been talking a lot about talent. and the ability to attract and retain talent. And NAM, National Association of Manufacturers, did a survey end of last year. 71% of the leaders in manufacturing responded. 71% said the number one concern they have is attracting and retaining talent. And I can tell you, it ought to be a great concern, because you think about some of these advanced manufacturing facilities that we're in. These machines are operated by electrical, mechanical, mechatronics engineers. They've got to program the equipment. When there's a failure mode, they've got to get in there. They've got to fix it. So manufacturers are competing with the consulting, companies, and it's no longer sufficient to design a facility that is, designed for productivity, efficiency. It's got to be great design also, because you've got to attract and retain that top talent. And so spaces that we're designing, and I'm seeing this, a lot of owners that are sophisticated and they get it, they're designing facilities that have great amenities in them too. Fitness, wellness facilities, cafeterias, bringing in lots of natural light. They want to be well certified, so looking at how well the building was designed and constructed from a noise standpoint, quality of air, water,
sustainability, all of it. Yeah,
definitely. And I think a lot of owners are really recognizing that, to attract that talent and retain them and create that stay place in manufacturing is what they're having to do. So really trying to elevate the design of manufacturing, just change the perception of it. Historically it's dark, dingy, dusty environments. It's like I say, we got to change the perception of manufacturing. They can be great places, just like the Airstream facility. I mean, that's such an iconic brand, working on the flows. One quick story, when we were working on it, we learned that they had all these old Airstreams, these historic Airstreams sitting out in the weather. And we also learned that you can go to Jackson Center and tour the plant. And a lot of people that own Airstreams, are you out here from out west? Yeah. They'll go from Washington back to Jackson Center to have service done, right? And then what do they do while they're there at the service, waiting for service? And there was a gift shop there. That was about it. They could go tour the plant. But what we recommended was, why don't you create a museum for all this history that you got? And they created the Heritage Center there. So I don't know when the last time was you were back in Jackson Center. If you've been there in the last 5 years.
I've never been there.
Oh,
I ordered this out of this.
Yeah. You need to fly out to Jackson Center, tour the plant, and tour the.
Now I have to
go through the Heritage Center.
Yes.
But they were just such a great customer. It's a great looking plant. It's great design. It's like I said. It's great design. They got it. They knew they had to create a great space with great amenities to attract all the workers that they needed there. I mean, they needed 1,200 people.
That's amazing.
To build those Airstreams at the demand that they had.
Wow, that's incredible.
But it was just a great project. Great people to work with.
I will say for the listener, just so everybody's aware, I'm sure everybody knows what Airstream is, but Airstream is to trailers what Harley Davidson would be to motorcycles.
Yeah.
So the highest end, the nicest. So
that's right.
Yeah. Well, Michael, this was great. We really appreciate you being on the show. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so
Michael.
much.
Great job. Yeah.